The Surrey Puma. I would appreciate if you could please go over and click on the subscribe and hit the notification so you can know next time we have something new coming on. And sorry for the interruption, but back to the show. Surrey Puma is one of the more phantom cats, or ABCs, derived from alien big cats, reported in southwestern Surrey and an adjoining part of Hampshire from 1959 to the present year. The Surrey Puma refers to a clutch of sightings reported to police and newspapers of phantom cats, categorized into slightly larger than domestic cats, resembling Iberian lynxes, to reports of large black cats from an early stage so identified in the press and by some sighters as pumas. In the wild, barring escapees, a Pan-American genus by the mid-1960s records included a plaster cast of a paw print less than 5 inches handed into Godalming's police station, where it was the public display piece of a minor priority big cat file that centered on damage to livestock. In 1966, black and white photographs of a larger than usual cat by a former police photographer, Ian Pert, next to a house in Warpleston. There followed an 18-year hiatus in non-testimonial allegations with corroborating evidence until a report to the police with a hair sample of a puma taken from Pease Lake in the heavily wooded part of Greensland Ridge. 21 years after this, a color video was recorded of a cat or big cat walking away beneath a branch. A Surrey Wildlife Trust officer in the local press at the time considered the animal filmed was not a Surrey Puma, as the woman recording thought, but was consistent with an Iberian lynx. Assessing this and the organization's own records of that year in its ranges, in its boroughs to the north, the borough of Guildford, this video was taken at Winksworth Arboretum, Winkworth Arboretum. Busbridge, in the southwest of Surrey, the loosely corroborated sightings have been in southwestern Surrey, and one in a neighboring part of Hampshire from 1959 till about 2005. Anonymous and vague sightings in Surrey have been reported to the police, the local and national press sporadically since 1959. In 1975, an 8-year-old boy was playing alone in a woodland in Chiddingfold. The woodland backs into a field, and it was from this field that a golden-colored big cat entered the woodland. The cat walked in a westerly direction, staying close to the edge of the field. As it passed the boy at a distance of approximately 10 meters, it turned its head and stared momentarily at him, but was disinterested and carried on walking. Lucky boy. The boy named Patrick lived at a house now named Bluebells in Pockford Road. When asked if it could have been a dog, the boy replied no, because it had a long curved tail, a white head, and it picked its feet up like a cat. But it was the same size as a big dog. 1959 was the first possible sighting that was recorded in 1959, when police received a number of big cat reports in the Farnham as well as the Surrey-Hampshire border. 1962-1963 was 2 further sightings, which were recorded in 1962 by a water board personnel in Hampshire and a third in the winter of 1962-63, a cat-like beast was seen at Bushylease Farm, Crondall, Hampshire. Was seen at Bushylease Farm, Crondall, Hampshire. When the police officer sighted the supposed Shooter's Hill cheetah in southeast London in 1963, media interest turned to other big cat sightings. Injured livestock of a 1964 police-taken paw cast naming the Surrey Puma. This whole thing's going to be edited a lot. I got a lot of repeats here. I'm going to put it together separately from what I wrote. In August 1964, a bullock at Bushylease Farm was found severely lacerated. Following press coverage, numerous reports of contacts with these animals, dubbed the Surrey Puma, came to the press, ranging from fanciful to some taken seriously, by the police at Godalming Police Station, 362. 362 reports were received in a 2-year period. The station, from this period, kept a cast of the 5-inch paw print on display identified as that of the Puma by London Zoo. Reports noted that its size implied an extremely large specimen and that there were distinct differences between it and the alleged European prints of other pumas. The investigation file was closed in the middle of summer of 1967. In August 1966, Pert took a grainy shot, which he claimed showed the Surrey Puma at Worplesdon, and a cat facing the camera and a longer than average length body. Then going to 1968 and 1970, a farmer claimed to have shot a puma, but could not provide any evidence. Sightings gradually tailed off. All the paw prints found in the snow in 1970 generated a flurry of further reports. As well in 1970, Alberta History Society has a 1991 publication about the Hurtwood interviewing, 1991 publication about the Hurtfield, about the Hurtwood, interviewing Hurtwood's controls ranger, Bob Ware, who claims several sightings. The Hurtwood spans Farley Green, Pitch Hill, Pease Lake, and Holmbury Hill. In 1984, hair samples taken at Pease Lake were identified as puma. In the previous year, an unclassified big cat dubbed Alien featured in The Archers, and Beast of Exmoor made national headlines. 1995, the Surrey Adventurer, a newspaper, reported a sighting was recorded by police officer Steve Ashcroft in 1995 outside Hilltop, St. Teresa Schools. 2003, Detective Constable Stephen Ashcroft saw the same or similar up at Holmesbury Hill in June 2003. An area with sightings logged within the following 12 months by Peter Hayes, warden of the Hurtwood, which covers the hill and the ridge to its north and west. In 2004, newspaper added residents of Abringer Commons, the neighborhood woodland and farmland area, reported that in the last 2 weeks they had seen a big cat, relying on big cat surveys by the British Big Cat Organization. 2005, we had a lynx, and Mr. Fowler visiting a partner with Winkworth Arboretum, Winkworth Arboretum sent their video camera footage to a local newspaper, which they reproduced in stills. They described this animal as gingerly brown color, about the size of an Alsatian dog, but definitely wasn't a fox. Surrey Wildlife Trust Ranger Mark Havler having looked at this, believed it was an Iberian lynx and received 15 calls of sightings of similar in the next 2 weeks, many backdating to when the occurrence had actually happened to them. Reports that year logged as the Surrey Advertiser headquarters were of more than one non-native wildcat in the boroughs of Guildford and the neighboring districts. Some left spot and bobtail on a sandy-colored animal suggesting a lynx. Others of a no spot and long tail, which could mean a puma. 2 resident walkers were included in the publication overview reports across the years since 1960s. The reporter interviewing the animal liaison officer, Marwell Zoo, outside of the sightings area to assess whether the old findings were linked, who explained the need for sufficient breeding pairs given these animals' lifespans, with say a 1 in 99 likelihood in ideal conditions of having multi-generational offspring. If the first alleged sightings were true, and he expressed doubt on the veracity of those reports. If there are black pumas living in the wilds nowadays, they will be 2nd or 3rd generation animals. So to keep this recessive gene in the wild here is unlikely, especially in Surrey. However, lynxes and pumas are a possibility. It would take 6 to 8 animals living in the same area to keep a species line going. The reports states from 1964, it reported the first appearance of the golden brown animal of around 3 to 5 feet in length, while he was blackberrying one lunchtime, according to George Wisdom. In closing, I'd like to say that the evidence seems extreme. There's something there. And I've also heard of reports in a few different sources that have mentioned that all the ABCs in the England area, possibly other countries where they shouldn't be. I know in some of the Americas, there are some conditions of them. And what it is there's been conditions like in Americas where animals have escaped from zoos during natural disasters, as in hurricanes. New Orleans lost a lot of animals. Then you also have in England, there was a period where they suddenly created a fine or a tax, or however you wish to see it, but they would charge you for your exotic animals. So a lot of people, to save the huge amounts of money, went out and released them. Also, I have a report of a zookeeper one time from the London Zoo who was retired that stated he knows for a fact that during a time period when tens were down, costs were up, and they were trying to find a way to make the zoo there in London viable, they let some animals out, took them away from town and let them go because it cost too much to keep, and they would have also had to pay the taxes on it. So, I think it's actually obvious that that's probably what it is. It's possible you've got a new species breeding out there, a hybrid between a couple species. As said in Jurassic Park, life will find a way. Thank you for your time. I know this was a long one, and I appreciate you watching. Please subscribe and notify so I can get you every time. We'll be getting these going again. That's the plan. I know we haven't been able to do a few, but we've been having some difficulties back here at the studio, so everything should be good now. And thank you. I've even got some help. So I'll talk to you guys later and have a good day.